All right, let's get started. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Brendan, I'll let you kick it off.
Absolutely. We appreciate everybody joining. Excited to be partnering with Lauren and the Leap crew here today, talking through something that we're both very passionate about. Lauren and I will be going through some practical steps that we think are important uh, as you're evaluating AI. I know a lot of folks have that on their roadmap for the course of this year. We want to walk through some of the things we've seen. Both Lauren and myself have years of experience supporting Bullhorn and other ATS customers, and have seen this journey multiple times and have the lashes to of the pain we've experienced with others. So hopefully sharing some tips and tricks today and some practical applications and steps that can help you all in your journey. So going forward, a quick introduction. Lana, I'll kick it over to you.
Yes. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Lauren Jones. I'm the founder and CEO of Leap Advisory Partners. And Leap does three things and three things really well. We build, change, adopt. We'll help you build out your tech stack from an agnostic, neutral perspective. We'll help you with business process, and we'll help you with training and adoption. Obviously, with AI being a huge focus of this. And AI has allowed us as a firm to create product. So there's some pretty amazing things that all of us can do now that AI is here.
Absolutely. And Brendan Robinson here, founder of Broad and Madison. I actually spent 15 years at Bullhorn prior to starting this firm. When I was at Bullhorn, I actually led their customer success and professional services organizations. So very passionate about the customer experience as it relates to recruitment technology. Broad and Madison, similar to Leap, has a kind of a service and a product piece of organization. On the service side, we have embedded success. Embedded success is allowing Broad and Madison folks to actually run and manage your Bullhorn both at a day-to-day level as well as a strategic level. And then we have a product called Clean, which actually plugs into your Bullhorn systems via API and systematically cleans up your data behind the scenes and gives you analytics around the efficacy of your data itself. We'll get into a little more of that later on, but kick things off. Lauren will cover what we'll cover today.
So here's what we want you to understand. Automation, AI require a few things. And so we're going to talk about the core problem that we deal with firms as they come in to try and take advantage of automation or AI and what they're up against. Some of the warning signs to look for. Then we want to show you the two products and how they complement one another, right? So it's preparation and then it's management. And then we want to show you what good looks like. I think that's oftentimes missing. And if you've ever been on a webinar of mine, I want you to be able to walk away with something that you didn't have when you came in, something that's actionable, something I can do tomorrow. Our hope is that you walk away with actionable insights to be able to, whether you buy products or not, that you'll be able to have a roadmap and a plan for taking advantage of this really cool time, because there's some pretty astounding statistics. The grid survey says that agencies that are leveraging AI and automation are 3.5 to 4.5 times more likely to reach their goals. That's pretty remarkable. And so we want you to be able to take advantage of this really cool time. So,
Absolutely. So the core problem, let's talk about it. So you can't automate a mess. This is something we talk about quite frequently. You definitely can't put AI on top of it. And I think what we're seeing now with folks who are either evaluating Amplify or other AI solutions is we are living in a very tokenized system currently, where you are given an allotment of tokens to actually spend. If anybody has any subscriptions via Claude or via OpenAI, you have probably hit your limit at some point in time where you're going through and you're getting that notification saying, "Hey, you're about to run out of credits. Do you want to buy more?" Right? The entire AI space is still very malleable at this point, very early days, and we're figuring out how it's going to be monetized. So I think you're going to see a lot more change, frankly, before we settle on an agreed upon solution. But in the current environment, tokens really are the ruler of the roost at this point in time. And what we're seeing is when people have undocumented pieces of their um, of their tech stack around automation, or they have really bad or outdated data, we see the wasting of those tokens when AI is layered on top of it. And that is a very expensive lesson to learn. As you are layering AI on top of whatever you're doing, you're actually wasting money in the process of trying to um, roll out AI, which is problematic. And what we're trying to do here is come up with some practical steps that will allow you to hopefully monetize the tokens to the best of your ability going forward. So, hand it over to you, Lauren.
So here's what I want you to understand. When we look at AI projects, again, wouldn't be a conversation with me if I didn't come with data, right? So Gartner predicts that through 2026, 60% of firms will completely just leave or abandon an AI project because their data isn't ready. And 63% of organizations aren't sure whether or not their data is in the right place. And so AI multiplies whatever it finds. If it is a broken process, right, it is going to be broken faster. And so what we want to help you understand is getting a good outcome, right? And being able to set a baseline for where your data is now and where we want it to be. The messy foundation is what we all struggle with, right? Duplicates, stale records. For automations, you've got conflicting triggers. You don't really have a good inventory of your field mapping. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And so what we want to help you do is establish a really good baseline of what clean data looks like, and then give you resources in the event you're like, I don't know how to fix this. There are tools with which you can use to get that fixed. And then this is much like training. And I say this over and over and over. This is not cleanliness of your data is not a one-hit wonder, and it will be the difference maker for those that can not just take advantage now, but continually take advantage. When we have good data hygiene practices, it's got to be something like training that is, in perpetuity, that you're looking at this every single month going, okay, where are my data hygiene practices today? Do I have a process every month with which I'm either cleaning up or, I'm uh, eliminating, deduplicating, whatever that is? This is an ongoing thing because the idea is you're going to have more applicants come in, right? And if you've got a problem today, you're going to have a problem tomorrow. So we need to get good practices in place.
Completely agree. And furthermore to that end, I think what you're seeing is there's been a general acceptance around AI strategy at an executive level. That acceptance does not exist at a operational level at this point. And there are a lot of people that still have fear that AI is coming for their job or that these firms will effectively automate them out of a position. And if your data is inaccurate, people are actively looking for AI rollouts to fail. They see it as an existential threat to their employment status going forward. I understand why they feel that way. I personally don't believe they should feel that way, but it's hard to tell them that that's the case.
Right.
And they will, if your data is inaccurate in your systems, or if you have like stale automations, they're going to look for the use cases that to support their claim that you should not be leveraging fill in the blank AI solution. They'll come back and say, look, this is incorrect. This is not right. We shouldn't be using this. This is just a step to help make sure, one, you're proving the data points you're getting back are actually real proof points that will validate if there's ROI in the solution. Because again, I don't think every AI solution is going to come with baked in ROI for you. You need to find the right solutions for yourself. But you're going to help combat that feedback from the people on the front line who are actually doing the doing when they come back and say, this isn't working. And we can actually get into the details. You want to make sure that if they are saying that, there is validity in the reasons they're saying that, not just they're leveraging AI on top of broken data and getting broken results. This is a classic garbage in, garbage out scenario that you want to avoid.
And I think I want you to walk away from this or from this conversation as an AI optimist. That's what you're going to be moving forward. You're going to be an automation and AI optimist. Because if you do that, you've heard me say a million times, AI is not going to replace you, but someone that knows how to use it will. And half of the battle is attitude, in my opinion. I think that's half the battle with anything, right? Is your attitude towards it and whether or not you're going to embrace it. Resistance, I think, I don't want to say resistance is futile, but kind of feels like that, doesn't it?
It does, and I think what I've talked to a lot of firms about separately is there is this um, misnomer out there when it comes to other technology that has been released previously. You feel like a business owner or somebody who is leading an operations team, like you have this opt in or opt out decision to make, right? Like, you know what, we're going to either go down this route or we're not. And for the history of technology, that has been the case. I can buy this tool or I can't. The difference now is it's not you, that question's already been answered. Your people are using AI either in a controlled environment or in a non-controlled environment. So the question you have to answer yourself is, do I want to be in control of the outputs and oversee this, or do we want to have it be a little bit more lawless, where my people are going outside of a Bullhorn or a Vincere or whatever their system is and leveraging AI outside of it for their own personal gain? So it's this train has left the station. The toothpaste doesn't go back in the tube. All those sayings apply here to that regard overall.
Right. Yes.
So let's talk about the warning signs. How do you understand where you are in this process as you're evaluating going forward and what you see as potential problems or cracks in the foundation, so to speak? So you'll see here over the problem that Sudden Health introduces really is a couple of different things. But first things first, there's staffing as it always does, adds another twist on top of something in the sense that tenure in this industry is just incredibly low. So oftentimes, from a tech perspective, you're picking up things and picking up decisions that were made that predate you. Especially in an operations role, you see a lot of operations people that are changing and going in between organizations where they're not the ones who actually made the original decisions. They inherited the decision down the line. So that adds a whole other problematic layer on top of all of this that we need to work through. But again, this is recruitment. We're all used to this being the case, and it's not new, but it is something that needs to be considered as we're doing this evaluation. So sign number one is really the new AI push, and this is what we're seeing from and I know Lauren does a lot of work with private equity, but there is a huge private equity push. Is AI being one of the only things that they're approving spend on? I mean, coming out of the past couple of years, thankfully, with Bullhorn's new SIA data coming out, it seems like staffing is starting to bounce back. Not knock on wood, which is great. But over the past couple of years, there's been a lot of freeze on spend, right? It's really batten down the hatches, get operationally efficient, drive margin through operational improvements versus just selling like we have. That doesn't apply to AI. And a lot of private equity, they're saying we want to be super fiscally conservative on everything, except for AI. So there's a huge push and a huge amount of dry powder, so to speak, out there for firms to go and evaluate and look at this technology separately, but doesn't necessarily align with their ability to execute on that strategy immediately. So that's kind of sign number one. For sign number two, Lauren, over to you.
So it is trust, right? So, and I think this is data in particular is very much a compounding problem in our industry. We deal with a lot of PII, and yet we have recruiters that have side spreadsheets because they may not trust the system or they may not trust the process, or they don't trust what's in Bullhorn. So they're keeping their hot book, which I'm going to date myself here, but I had a hot book with all my candidates. I've been in the industry for almost 30 years. I've sat at a desk. And when you don't trust what's in the system, you start making your own system. And that's where we get into a number of issues. So the wild west, as Brendan was talking about, with recruiters using their own non-paid for or free version of tools, which is a PII nightmare, and where agencies are being sued, and where we're looking at legislation. When you look at what they're doing in New York, what they've done in the UK, um, we are going to see more and more legislation. And I'm here in California where we want to legislate everything. So, they're going to legislate your underpants if they can here in California. But it's a compounding problem. And then when you take all of that data, and then you have an end user that doesn't trust all of that compounding data, and then you compound using outside systems, or you've now, as an agency or agency owner or a leader, now you have all of these holes, and now you're sitting on the boat with all of the water in all of the little holes, and you're trying to plug them up because you've got PII everywhere. You've got a system that you don't trust. And now you're trying to capitalize on automation and AI, and you fundamentally just cannot.
Yes. It's fun stuff, and the
It's
legislation is
fun.
going.
It's fun. I know. I really made it sound like doomsday. I'm sorry.
No, the
Sorry about that.
legislation it's that is going to be its own wrinkle unto itself, and then even just follow what's happening here in New York, it's going to be this is going to be a very Wild West type
Yes.
scenario going forward, and we're just along for the ride at this point in time. Um, so on the inherit side number three on the inherited setup as well, I mentioned this earlier, and this is another thing that I'm actually kudos to Lauren and the team for building this out around automations. Is automations are going to play a really big part in your AI setup overall. And oftentimes there is really just one seminal moment when those automations are built, and it's at implementation. So you buy a tool, let's say you go buy the automation tool from Bullhorn. You spend all this time in implementation setting up the automations. That's probably where you spend 95% of your builds going forward, right? So months or days, months, years go by, and you are rarely, some firms do, so I'm not trying to knock all firms, but rarely are firms going back and really documenting what they've done in the past and explaining the why they had it and thinking about the efficacy of it. It's really a transactional setup. I have this need, or I did this previously. I needed to do that, right? It's not done in a way where you're looking at the holistic setup of automations overall, where you're understanding like there's a strategy around it. We're going to go, our go-to-market strategy is going to be set up in automation. We're going to do XYZ here. It's more of like, these are the tasks I need to get done. And if I can automate these tasks, that would be great versus like something that actually coalesces into a actual go-to-market plan. So this is a huge sign that we see because automation is a foundational layer of leveraging AI, not just in Bullhorn, but in other applications as well.
Yeah. And then you have the firefighting, and this is where Leap Lens came in. So one of the things that we were most frustrated by with and this isn't picking on Bullhorn, but with Bullhorn automations in particular, is taking inventory of your automations. If you have 1,000 automations and you're managing them in a spreadsheet, do you have a really good dependency tracker? Do you know what happens if you change a singular field? What automations will that impact? And we don't know where things break when we don't have a roadmap, when we don't have clarity of automation inventory, when we don't have clarity of the AI tools that are being used. This is, across the board, automation and AI included. And so this idea of ensuring, and I think that's always been one of my superpowers, is road mapping, right? Making sure that you have clarity of what the next year is going to look like. And so this idea that we can stop the firefighting, stop the holes in the boat, and understand exactly what the consequences of changing and upkeeping your system are. Your system should not be static. It should be fluid. You should be adding fields. You should be changing things in the system as your business changes. Your business doesn't stay the same, but it makes it really difficult when we can't track automations and what AI tools we're using. And so the idea is stop the firefighting and let's figure out how we give you good clarity of what you're already doing, and then how to roadmap it out from there. Because again, you're not gonna stay in one place, or the idea isn't that you stay in one place. And we want to help you roadmap that out so that you can continue to, compound those automations and compound your AI utilization.
Absolutely. And I think you see at the bottom here, if you have two or more of these things going on frequently, you're going to have a bad time rolling out AI. So we want to give some practical steps here to help smooth that transition.
That's
Uh,
right. That's right.
So this is a pretty important slide here because there's really at this point I mentioned this earlier around the opting in and opting out of technology decision, and this is more of do you want to be in control or not be in control? There really is a cost of inaction here, and it's not necessarily you're standing still. You're actually going backwards if you're not adopting some principles that to Lauren said. I think she said it really well is keeping your system in a dynamic state. And I think if you think about AI is going to be the best tool to have to maintain that dynamic state going forward because you can actually take that away from people having to be at the core of the middle, being in the middle of keeping things updated. And you can see here, this is kind of the cost of not making this change, right? Things move so quickly in recruitment, 22.5% of contact data goes stale within a year, right? I'm
Hmm.
sitting here thinking about, I mean, Broad and Madison started in January of 25. Sitting here, this is most of my data would be stagnant at this point already. That's concerning, especially when we are in the people business. Having contact information is probably more accurate contact information is probably more important in this industry than any other. When our currency is people, needing to know who to get in touch with, where they're at in their journey is incredibly important, right? 3.5 to 4.5 more likely to have grown revenue, right? Agencies using AI are 3.5 to 4.5 more likely to have grown revenue. It's very clear people that are taking an AI first approach are increasing their productivity comparatively to yourself. So again, it's not a decision about yourself in a vacuum. If do we or do we not do this? It's really what are my competitors doing? How are they differentiating against me? Are they seeing additional growth on top of what they're doing because they're increasing their funnel, right? You're seeing a lot of these agents that are out there around screeners and onboarding. It really allows them to focus on the more highly value added tasks day in and day out and get to a place where they can automate or replace, frankly, a lot of the non-value added tasks that still are important from a compliance standpoint. Um, so again, cost number three is that silent breakage. 10% of firms have AI embedded across the workflow. So it's still early days while the train's left the station. Thankfully, you can still see it. So we might as well start running after it here. I see this more as an opportunity than a cost here. Joining now, you're still going to be in the top 10% of people who are getting this out the door from an AI strategy perspective. You
Yes.
really have it's not too late to get started. Even though it
Yes.
feels like you might be behind, you're still ahead of the general curve overall. Um,
Yes. 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 And I have to give you some data around this, guys. Did you know that only 5% of people are paying for AI tools? Only 5%. So when you think, I missed Bitcoin and I missed vlogging and I meant, all of these trends where you felt like you missed the boat, you have not missed the boat here. Only 5% globally of people are paying for AI tools. So you are just being here, you are ahead of the curve. I say that every time we do an AI masterclass. You are exactly where you should be, and you are investing your time exactly where, and nothing to do with me or Brendan. You need to be engaging in topics like this because you are not behind, and the data is behind us there.
Correct. That feeds into the last bit of this though too. It's that if you decide to opt into, you know what, I'm going to pull the trigger, I'm going to buy that tool, and I'm pretty sure that Broad and Madison probably is 1% of that 5% because we pay for like 30 AI
I
tools.
know, me too. Ours too. Yes, yes, I
So,
feel that.
but again, it's not a foregone conclusion. Like this, a lot of people are still having a failure to launch. So they're saying, you know what, I want to take the leap. I want to jump into this. I want to figure it out, and then they're failing anyway. So I think it's showing that even if you're well intended and want to be leveraging AI, it is going to take a concerted effort around the documentation of what you're doing today, as well as your data, to make sure that you're actually sticking the landing. Right? It's not as easy as just being like, cool, you guys can have convinced us we're going to do it tomorrow. It's like that is a decision in itself. I'm glad you got over that mental hurdle. However, now the work actually begins to adopting this in a way that's going to stick with your people and be meaningful down the line.
Agree.
So let's talk about what some of this stuff actually looks like. So it wouldn't be a webinar with Lauren and myself if there wasn't some sales components or some show and tell aspect of this. And I think you can't knock us for being founder-led salespeople. However, we did want to lay this out in the way where even if we're absent the products that we're going to show you, there are still practical steps in here for how you should be thinking about this that you can take away and have a meaningful change or approach in what you're doing. So, I hand it over to Lauren to walk through Leap Lens.
So, let me share my screen here. 1 second. Okay. So I'm going to test everybody's engagement here, and you're going to give me a thumbs up in the little chat over here, or use your emojis to tell me whether or not you can see the screen. Yes? You sure? Are you paying attention? Okay, see, I see flying thumbs. Okay, those are my favorite. Okay, good, good, good. Okay, awesome. Okay, so we built Leap Lens simply out of our own frustration. And I think that's how most tools are created, right? You see a singular problem that is compounding and you want to try and figure out a way to solve that. And so Leap Lens does that, as there isn't a really great way within the Bullhorn system. While Bullhorn automation is powerful, one of the things that's not as powerful as we would like it is being able to track it and being able to understand dependencies. So what we want you to be able to see is, and when you have, we have a firm right now, um, and it's astounding to me. They have over 1,500 automations and they're managing all of them on a spreadsheet. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And then having to do Control F to find the field, and search to find what field they're going to be changing to see if there is automations that will be failing. And so this was the problem that we were trying to solve for: is you shouldn't be managing those things in a spreadsheet. So we want you to be able to take inventory of your automations and understand the total automations that you have in your inventory. What we want you to be able to do, and the idea behind this was, let's filter them by candidates. So you can understand how many candidate automations do I have going on. If I'm not going to filter it by entity, that I can understand which automations do I have that are impacting onboarding, right? And being able to understand each of these automations. And then once we take inventory of an automation, we have an AI summary that tells you exactly what this automation does, tells you exactly what fields it will impact, tells you what entity, gives you automation tags. And let's say you wanted to maybe flag this as something that you might want to change. You can add it to your automation roadmap and say, revisit this initiative. Maybe I need to revisit this automation. Maybe I want to add a new automation initiative to my roadmap. So this not only allows you to take inventory of the automation and track it and sort it, but we have a dependency tracker that this is an upcoming feature. So when we want to be able to visualize exactly what's happening with the automation, where a handoff might be happening with Amplify, because we know these are going to work in concert moving forward. So this will work for your Bullhorn automations and your Amplify, to be able to take advantage of, where do I have automations working? Is there a baton handoff with Amplify? And then we want you to be able to see, how good are you? right? So there's a report card in here because it wouldn't be something that we build without kind of understanding where you are and where you should be. And so anything that you see, we've got, sample data here, right, where we've got 24 gaps. Where we've got some good automations happening in other entities, but the candidate entity is not one of them. So all of these cards that are in red, this is an inventory of the best practice automation playbook. And so we're helping you, once we take inventory of all of those automations, we're now helping you understand where do you stack up next to best practice. And so this entire tool is understanding exactly which automations you have. It's very straightforward, right? We're not trying to overcomplicate anything. What automations, what AI do you have working? And then visually, which workflows do they impact? And then understanding where do I stack up? And then being able to put together a viable roadmap for the future. And I think that's what is really, really important. And what I don't often see is we see sales kickoffs in January. We see recruiter kickoffs in January. We see all of these things. We do not see an operational kickoff. 9.5 times out of 10, I see sales and recruiting kickoffs. I don't see an operational or real strategic roadmap when it comes to things like automation and what are we going to do with AI and training, right? There's not, very, very few firms have an operational roadmap that is inclusive of the training blueprint for the year. So this idea that we are sort of forcing your hand to ensure that you have an annual strategy and an annual roadmap as it pertains to your automation and the AIs that you have working in concert with your automations is the entire purpose of LeapLens. Again, very straightforward problem. And we have a very straightforward solution. Any questions? Right? It's pretty straightforward. Okay, good. If you have
Yes.
questions, drop them in the chat, and Lily and Maddie are feverishly waiting for your questions.
I think it's great, and I think it also kind of leads into the I'm a big believer in you can't manage what you can't measure, and this is a situation where you can get your hands around what you have today, and unfortunately, not unfortunately, but I think a reality of if you're buying a Bullhorn, a lot of these tech stacks and the single tech platform doesn't really exist anymore, in the sense of you really need to operate as a pseudo technology company and how you're managing everything that you're doing to make sure you're getting the right return. And to your point, you see a lot of focus around sales. You see a lot of focus around recruitment, no focus around technology. And it's really underpins everything that you're doing as a business nowadays. And having your handle here, I think it goes a long way to show, to help, I should say, drive those conversations with Leap Lens. So,
I
love.
hope that every agency moving forward has put some energy around it, like a tech ops department. That is going to be the new role. That is going to be the new department is tech ops, where we've got these two things. And quite frankly, the three or four departments that should be working in harmony are your IT, your biz ops, your marketing, and your training. Those four departments need to be lock in step with one another because there's particularly now with as fast as everything's moving, all of those departments should have a cohesive, coherent, and collaborative roadmap.
Absolutely. Well, that's why Broad Madison and Embedded Success exists.
That's
We're
right.
to fill
Mhm.
that gap. But let's talk about clean. We talked about the automations and the importance of that, and I think Leap Lens is a great solution for again wrapping your hands around that and coming up with a strategy that's going to drive meaningful results in that area. The other thing we talked about is data and the integrity of your data going forward. Data is the currency which we operate with, and it's everything that is your system is built on. You spend all this time gathering information from conferences, from cold outreach, from LinkedIn, wherever it is, putting it into a system. You want to make sure that that information is actually cogent and is going to be usable going forward. And what we saw is, as we mentioned earlier, with our stat around 22.5% of your data gets obsolete within a year. We wanted to come up with a product that would actually stay on top of that proactively. So we built Clean, and Clean is our tool that will plug in directly to your Bullhorn system via API. and clean up your data. And there's different elements of the tool itself. It'll analyze your data. It will show you exactly where your duplicates are, what needs to be merged, the health, where you're actually having bad sources of information coming in. You will also eliminate your duplicates automatically. So it can merge information together to make sure that you're not, as we said earlier on, leveraging tokens of AI to on data that is not going to be usable. And it will automate the cleanup as well. So building out routines that can actually synthesize your data at the top of the funnel will help keep your data in a state. This is not a too often data is looked at as a one-time cleanup where we want to have a data initiative around cleaning up all of our information. You know, they invest resources for a month. They might hire an outside firm. They clean it up once, then they move on, right? This is one of those things where we believe that having the muscles here consistently are going to yield the best results. Unfortunately, I can't go rip 100 sit-ups right now and get six-pack abs, right? Like it's not a one-time thing. It takes constant care and attention to make sure that you're getting the most here. We see this as a tool we can actually turn on your behalf and get these results for you and get you clean and stay clean down the line. So really quickly showing the product itself. I will share this. So as I mentioned, this is clean, is hooked up. It lives outside of your, and I believe LeapLens does as well. It lives outside of Bullhorn or your ATS system. I also think personally, for a long period of time working at Bullhorn, the modus operandi was keep people in the system, where you'd have all these widgets like iframed in and built into Bullhorn, so you're never leaving Bullhorn. As with everything, you know, the pendulum is now swinging the other way. A lot of the feedback from users was it's really confusing to have all of these things in here that are not applicable to me. So having these systems live outside of a bullhorn actually makes it easier for the small group of folks who actually need to care about this to focus on it without distracting the other individuals who are using those systems day in and day out. So again, give me 5 more years and we'll be back to building everything in Bullhorn again.
Sure.
Right. It'll swing
Yes.
it out. But this is hooked up via API. There is no implementation. We all need is an API key requested from Bullhorn, and this is live. We actually have an example of a customer that signed with us on a Monday. They were live on a Wednesday. So it's very easy for us to sync data over here. Th different areas in the system you'll see duplicates. This is how you can actually merge your duplicates. You'll see the records will be highlighted. You'll be able to figure out which direction you want to merge in, and you can actually merge across different entities. So candidates, contacts, leads, the customer currently are on the list of what we can do merges on. The nice thing with this, and unfortunately, if anybody here has had to do a merge in Bullhorn, you better triple measure before you cut, because if you merge records, it takes almost an act of God to unmerge them. We have an undo button here, which allows you to undo anything you've done separately. So you don't feel like you need to run that risk of, oh, I merged something that I didn't want to merge in the first place. So you'll have the ability to set both an automatic and manual review here. You can actually set scoring. If it's very clear these records are the same, we will automatically merge it. If they're closer, like you're seeing here, you can actually do a manual review and merge those records separately. This is more the data is already dirty and you want to clean it up bottom of the funnel. At the top of the funnel, we have what are called data routines. And these are routines you could build that will synthesize the information as they come through. So as people are parsing information from a LinkedIn and Indeed outside system, you can apply these rules so the data will be manipulated and collated in a way that you want to see it. I am a psychopath when it comes to punctuation. I want to see, Brendan Robinson, capital B, capital R. I don't want to see all caps. You can build in rules here that will standardize that data in a certain way. You also can synthesize and standardize your data in a way that'll be more consumable for AI systems. Good example of this is actually exists for anybody using Amplify. If you're running a search in Amplify at present and looking for somebody in Texas, if they have Texas spelled out on their resume and you store where they're working as being in Texas, TEXAS, Amplify will not pick that up. It needs to be TX, not Texas. So
Hmm.
there's little bugaboos like that right now that exist, so we can standardize and make sure that the information is consumable by these models to handle their idiosyncrasies. So really limitless in what you can do. You can build out, we have playbooks in here that you can deploy. These are pre-canned routines, but really limitless in terms of what you could do here overall to synthesize information as it's coming into the system. And then on top of all of that, we have an analytics layer to show you exactly where the duplicates are coming from, who is the problem child, so to speak. As you can see, my team likes to troll me and makes all the records against my name, so I look like the jerk mucking up our database here for total ads per week. But this is all interactive, allows you to build out your own dashboards to find out information within your system and really query against your database in a way where you can get the information you want about the integrity of your data. So again, super high level overview of this going forward, but wanted to at least show you all the products that Lauren and I and our collective teams have been working on together. So let's talk about what good looks like as I go back to sharing my screen.
How many of you, let me ask this of our attendees, how many of you have routine, consistent data hygiene practices? Like something that you're doing every month, maybe it's quarterly. How many of you, by say me in the chat, or not me in chat, or give me your emoji thumbs up. You guys are good at that. Do you have it, or a thumbs down? No? Well, I'm going to start picking on people. Yes, no, maybe so. All right, we have a quiet group today. I'll let you off the hook.
Thumbs down. There
A
you go.
thumbs down. There we go. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. We don't. Okay, good. Okay. It's not uncommon, so don't feel bad.
Absolutely. And I think this is what we're seeing here though is they're really this is a again this is not the end all be all, but having some template to your AI strategy is going to be important. You really want to give yourself a scorecard because you're managing in multiple directions here. You're managing up to maybe a private equity firm or an executive team. You're managing down to your internal stakeholders because you're trying to win over hearts and minds. Having a log or some level of scorecard here, using this as an example, will really help you determine when you should be running that AI pilot going live. So before you say, let's go buy Claude, let's go buy Amplify, Gamma, whatever it is, fill in the blank, you want to make sure that you have these things ticked off so you can feel as good as possible around your strategy being a success when you ultimately deploy these solutions. So I'll speak for myself, and I know Lauren will go out there as well as to say we are both very passionate about this collectively around AI. I think we both have very positive and hopeful outlooks on what it can do in this industry. And I want to be resources to the people that have joined this call and beyond for helping you navigate this journey. I think part of what we have done in being early adopters of AI is we have made the mistakes for you. So we have figured out what not to do and would gladly share those experiences because I'll be the first to admit it's we have rolled out some things that haven't landed. So we want to make sure that we're sharing that what we have done experiential wise with you all and making sure that this is as seamless of a transition as possible.
I think I'll leave all of you with this one thing. Lily put it in the chat. The start small and scale. Do that with everything. And I think that's where really good iteration over time helps with creating a best practice. You don't have to eat the whole elephant. You don't have to automate everything. You don't have to clean everything at one time. I mean, when I'm with my AI students, it's one habit a day, or one different way of thinking a day about what is taking my mental brain space, and is there some way AI or automation could help me with that. And so it's just one little thing a day, one practice a day. This isn't something where it's an all or nothing. Little bits help. Um, and so that would be my, I guess, what I would ask all of our participants or suggest, or my piece of advice is don't eat the whole elephant. This can all be done um, pragmatically, systematically, and consistently.
Couldn't agree more. 1% better every day. Stack the wins. Compounding. Uh,
Yes.
any questions we can answer?
Or what does my team not have? Yes, that we can alleviate for them. Yeah, that's a good one, Maddie, too. Questions. Okay, I see you in here. Chloe, you've got a question. I know you do. Oh, poor Chloe on the spot. Oh no, Nikki left. Questions. Come on, guys. You've got four experts on here. What is one automation you were excited about creating? Oh, that's a good one, Chloe. Um, ooh, what would you say, Brendan?
Uh,
Like one we couldn't live without.
I am I'm big on experience, and I think that a differentiation here is creating a human element and a human exposure to your candidates. I always joke that it was wild to me that my dentist figured out how to say happy birthday to me every year, and they don't care about me as like all they care about is my teeth, whereas we're in the human capital, and we're not doing things like that to make it feel a little bit more personal to our candidates. So we do a lot of things that are like they're not necessarily going to result in a placement. They're not going to have an upsell, so to speak, associated with it. It's not a business activity. It is something that is um, a differentiator that will make you stand out with your competition is showing the people that you acknowledge them as an individual. Something as small as like, hey, happy birthday from the Leaf team goes a long way.
Yeah.
And it takes like 5 seconds to build, right?
Right, right. And you're
Five
not
minutes,
wrong.
right,
You're
right,
not wrong. Dentists figured it out first, guys.
correct.
Well, like, come on. We can do that. We're in the people industry. For the love of God, we should be able to figure that out. But I agree. I think the ones where you can compound connection, those are really valuable automations. I totally agree with you, Brendan. Uh,
Yeah.
okay, so we had another one. How often should I clean my data? Oh, that's one for you.
Yeah, I don't think I think it's a one of the this a data practice should be continuous. I think if you put the right systems in place, you'll be in a position where you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And you can leverage technology now to keep your data cl as clean as it possibly can be in perpetuity. Therefore, you don't have to worry about these massive cleanup projects down the line, and you can sleep easier knowing that if you do introduce a new technology, you can start at step one, not step negative 10 from the adoption. Like you don't want to have a project where you want to buy something, you're super geared up about buying it, then realize, well, here's all the things I need to do just to get ready to start launching that project. Having clean data will always serve you well in the future to be more malleable and be more able to take on that new technologies that you want to down the line. So
Well, and this one is related is who owns this work day to day if we don't have a dedicated person? I know what my answer is. What's yours?
we'll go your answer.
Everybody owns this. Everybody owns this. And I think it comes with good onboarding, right? For your talent. Like, what are your expectations of them when it comes to data hygiene, data cleanliness, documentation, right? My rule was if you didn't document it, it didn't happen. So I think that starts foundationally from day one, setting expectations. And then in partnership with setting expectations, do you have KPIs around this? I mean, it's very infrequently where I will see operational KPIs, and those can be really powerful at helping you make better matches more quickly when you have good data. A lot of customers right now can't take advantage of really good match tools because the data's crap. So I think that everybody owns this. I think it starts on day one, and I think it compounds over time. And I think if you create a culture of change acceptance, this daily habit is something that everybody can own. And then we have this sort of nirvana. I don't think you need a dedicated, a data cleanliness person. I do think it's cultural, and I do think it's something that everybody can own.
I agree there. This is a many hands make light work scenario in that area. But if you need somebody to be that embedded success person, we offer that. So let us know.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. I do see one here, invest in Amplifier, use Claude the replica.
Oh, I know. I avoided that one.
I haven't. I'll give my answer, and Lauren, you can contradict me immediately if you want to. I think there is a there is a vibe coding is a lot of fun. I will be the first person to tell you that. It is a lot of fun. I think people, it's a bit of a misnomer now on how quickly it is to get to a proof of concept to fool people into believing that they can do this thing. Could you go use Claude to build Amplify or or something that is more purpose built for yourself? I am sure you could. Do not diminish the value of making these products and the support of them somebody else's problem. Your vibe coded thing that you introduced to your organization breaks at 2 a.m. in the morning or gets hacked. Who's solving that problem? Right? Who's offering that support? Who's offering that training? Who's doing the research and development? Like the products themselves are going to become less important over time, but the infrastructure around these products that a Bullhorn or a Salesforce gives you is actually what you're going to be investing in. They have huge infrastructure worrying about all of these problems that go part and parcel with managing a product. It is very easy to build a product now. It is wild how quickly you can get from here to there in terms of visualizing a proof of concept. I did it last night. I'm sure Lauren has done it this week at some point with something, but do not diminish the supporting functions that go around the constant love and attention that goes into supporting a product down the line.
So I agree. I agree in that I am still a big fan of staying in a tool suite. And there is a reason for that. First of all, there is a lot to a tech stack today. And it's a lot of vendor management. It's a lot of cost management. It's a lot of contract management. It's a lot of user management. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And when you spread that amongst a million different tools, it becomes harder and harder and harder to manage. So I am a big fan of look, one tool can't do all the things. I don't care what they're telling you. If they're telling you that, they're selling you oceanfront property in Arizona. Um, they can't, one thing can't do all the things well. But there is something to be said for having kind of core function exist in your core tool. All of that being said, I do think that some of these ancillary tools are amazing ways to sharpen your tool and train and
100%.
to get the best output from the integrated tools. There are going to be some things that Amplify can do, and this is by design that an outside tool can't do, right? And entities that it will have access to, and fields that it can capture, and all of this, and again, that's by design. So if you want full capacity, full capability, stay within the suite. If you want to hone your individuals' skills and continue to nurture their learning, use some of those outside tools and come join the real AI agency, and we'll teach you how to use them. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think we're at time. I appreciate the questions in here. This was great, and I want to thank Lauren and the Leap team for their participation in helping to get this off the ground, and all you participating today. It was great. This is something that we're both incredibly passionate about, if you can't tell. Here to help. We know this is a bit of a scary journey, but I really am optimistic about what it's going to do to this industry going forward. Anything, Lauren, you want to impart final words?
Be an AI optimist, guys, and it's one little act a day to change your attitude towards AI and automation. They can be used for good, and if you don't know how to use them for good, reach out and ask for help.
Absolutely.
Thanks
Thanks
so
all.
much, Brendan. This was
Ah,
fun.
Could agree. Thank you all. Appreciate your
Thanks,
time.
guys.
Enjoy the rest of
Great.
your week.